welcome to a Talk IT tutorial. This is going to be the C++ Mesh Model Viewer. So this is going to be Lab 4, drawing an axis and a simple cube. So Lab 4, creating some objects. We're going to be doing these in 3D space. Just to give you a bit of background, it's going to be X in the X, Y and Z dimension. So effectively X is left and right, Y is up and down, and Z is forward and backwards. By joining these up, we can form lines and we have points. Hopefully this isn't too new. It should be quite sort of GCSE sort of maths. First thing we're going to do is draw an axis. So we're going to translate to the center, use line thickness of 3. We're going to draw some lines. We're going to use some colors. So red, blue, green. So with values 1, 0, 0 being fully red, so for RGB values between 0 to 1. Create some lines and then put some letters on them as well, actually. So just taking the draw axis code. So effectively that does what I've just said. Goes, translates it, sets the line thickness. We say begin the lines. We set the color to be red, and then we say go, okay. We're going to go from 4 on the X to 0, and then we're going to say, okay, I want it green, and we're going to go from 4 on the Y to 0, and then what we're going to do is go 1, so it's going to be blue, and we're going to go from 4 on the Z to 0, and then at 4.2 on X, Y, and Z, we're going to draw the letter X, Y, and Z. That one's quite simple. This one's a bit more complicated. We're going to set the cube vertex. So these are the points that make up a cube. So it might help if you draw these out for yourself. Draw a little sort of axis out and then plot the points and then draw them up, and you'll see that it becomes a square or cube. Sorry. For instance, back top right is going to be 1 in the X, 1 in the Y, and then -1 in the Z direction. So sort of along the corridor, up the stairs, but then go back a little bit, and that's back top right. Okay, so now it comes to the bit where we actually draw the cube. So we're going to use model view matrix. We're going to set the ambient, diffuse and specular color, which are all going to be white. We then set the material color to be front and back, and we set the angular, diffuse and specular, and we set the shyness to be 50, which is sort of quite a shiny surface. We set the line thickness is going to be 5, and then we say we're going to begin our lines, and we go through all of that. So I'm just going to copy and paste that code. So I've gone through the start, so then we say, okay, using green lines, go from cube vertex 0, 1, 2 to 3, 4, 5. So that's go from back top right, so this line, to back top left, and it'll create a line between those two. And we do this for all of them, and it creates it. I've done it in faces just so it makes it a bit simpler and easier to understand. So top face, bottom face, front face, back face, left face, and right face. And then we just say GLEnd at the end, just say that we're done building our lines, build the object for me now. That's all very simple. Now we're going to create our display function, which is most definitely more complicated. So we're going to just copy and paste in some variables, because we're going to actually use these later to manipulate some stuff. I'm going to copy the display function here, and we're going to overwrite that on our current display function. So we are going to, at the start of display, we're going to clear the color, clear the color buffer, clear the depth buffer. We're going to enter our projection matrix. We're going to load the identity matrix. So you might need to look at this. This effectively just is a sort of a matrix of zeros, but ones going diagonally. And it's easy to manipulate, effectively clears it. GL perspective, we're going to set the fovea, the zoom, and then we're going to also set the window height, dependent on the height and the width of it. We're going to set the view. Then we're going to go to GL model view, load the identity. We're going to set the camera. The camera is going to be sort of at the center, but it's going to be slightly back. We're going to set it from the center, so it's actually going to be back 10 in the Z axis. And then we're also going to set it to be looking slightly up just to give us a bit of an angle on it, only ever so slightly though. And then we're going to draw the axis, we're going to draw the cube, we're going to set the light position that we created earlier, set the light position so it doesn't move in rotation, so it's always the same. So it's going to be very high up in the Y looking down. So 500, so it's really high up. It won't make any specular lighting really. That's that. Oh yeah, and then we're going to flush it to make sure that all of that's gone through, and then we're going to swap the buffers. So that's talking a little bit about double buffering, so you don't get any flicker. So idle here. So what we're doing is saying GLUT post redisplay. So it hits idle, and what it's going to do is just redisplay. So we always just see the cube. We're not going to do anything else. We'll run the application in a sec. Got a bit of explanation to what the model view matrix is and the projection matrix, so you can read about that. A bit of explanation about what double buffering is and why we flush and we swap the buffers. But let's go to the bit like what we really want to see. Does it work? Which is a good question. So yes, let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So now you can see a cube. We can't do anything with it yet. I don't know what you'll be able to fully see because of the black background on that, but you can see the cube, and then you may not be able to see it, but you've got some small letters here that just say X, Y, and Z. You can't see the Z because we're actually looking straight down on it. And then you can see the megabytes there's gone up because now we're creating objects. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this lab, and I hope you continue on. Thank you.